Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Box Office Talk. This is the show where I break down what happened at the box office, see if my predictions for the top 5 are correct, and then make predictions for next week's top 5. So let's get right on into it. Last week I predicted that number 1 would be Crazy Rich Asians, number 2 would be Kin, number 3 would be The Meg, number 4 would be The Happy Time Murders, and number 5 would be Searching. And I only got 2 out of 5 of my predictions right, which is a little sad, but it's better than just getting 1 or 0. So let's go over what actually happened. Number 1 was, of course, yet again, Crazy Rich Asians. As I predicted, it's holding over very well in this kind of droughty August season. It made $22 million this weekend, which is spectacular since last weekend it made about 25, and that adds to a domestic total of $110 million, and on the worldwide chart it is sitting at $130, which is $100 million over its initial production budget of $30 million, which is outstanding for this film. I'm hearing they have a sequel in development, and since I've seen the film, I don't really know where else they could really go with a sequel creatively, but if they made this much money, then, and if they can still make it as good as this one, then sure, why not? People seem to be really enjoying it, so it's kind of expected that they try to make another one. Number 2 is The Meg, making $10 million, adding to a domestic total of $120, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $462, $38 million away from getting to $500 million worldwide, which I think will probably officially declare that they will make a sequel. I think once they cross over that number, or since they're getting close to it now, they might actually announce that they're going to work on another Meg film, which if they do, knowing me, I'd actually be very excited for that. I'm not sure how audiences would feel, but since a lot of people seem to be going to this film and having a lot of fun with it, I'm sure they'd be on board too. Number 3 was Mission Impossible Fallout, making $7 million, adding to a domestic total of $204 million. It's $11 million away domestically from becoming the highest grossing MI film domestically, and that's outstanding. I'm sure it'll get there. And on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $647 million, which needs $47 million more to become the highest grossing MI film worldwide. That one might get a little tricky as the weeks go on and it starts to slow down a bit, but I still think this film has a high chance of becoming the highest grossing one, both domestically and worldwide. Moving on to number 4 was Operation Finale, which actually did much better than I thought it was going to do. I didn't expect this film to get into the top 5 at all, but it actually made it here, making $6 million, and that adds to a domestic total of $7 million because it opened up on a Wednesday. Unfortunately, though, this is pretty bad business because there's no worldwide numbers yet, and domestically it didn't do that well, and its budget is relatively small. It's $24 million, so they only need about $48 million to be considered a success. This is not a great start for it for sure. Maybe in the next coming weeks it'll get more of an audience. Maybe it'll have good staying power, I guess, but I'm not really sure. We're getting into 2 big movies next weekend and then the week after that, so kind of hard to tell how this film's going to do. Number 5 is Searching, which made $5.7 million, adding to a domestic total of $6 million because this film is actually in a select few theaters last weekend, and worldwide it is already sitting at $12 million, so that's actually pretty fantastic. I'm not sure what the budget is, but I'm guessing since it is another laptop movie, I'm assuming the budget was relatively low, and if these numbers aren't good enough to prove that it's a success, then I don't know what else is, because I'm predicting that this film was relatively cheap to make, but honestly, it's a money well deserved, because this film was fantastic, and I think a lot of people are recognizing that and spreading it with others. Number 6 is Christopher Robin, which made $5.03 million, adding to a domestic total of $85 million, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $131 million. So it's so close. It's $19 million away from doubling its $75 million budget. It's so close. It's working up there slowly and slowly. I'm not sure if we're gonna see that happen in the next coming weeks while it's still around, but that would be really good to see, honestly, because I did enjoy this film. Moving on to number 7, we have Alpha, which made $4.45 million, and that adds to a domestic total of $27 million, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at 45. So it's $6 million away from crossing over its initial production budget of $51 million, but still, it's a pretty huge flop considering they needed to make over $100 million to be considered a success. So that really sucks, honestly. I know this film's probably going to get going in the next coming weeks because it is slowly starting to decline, but it made some money. It's not a huge embarrassing flop, but it is a flop nonetheless. Number 8, speaking of flops, The Happy Time Murders, which made $4.41 million, adding to a domestic total of $17 million, and there's no worldwide total as of yet, but they would need a lot of money to double that $40 million budget. It really sucks because I just saw this film. Honestly, I just got back from seeing this film, and it definitely had a lot of creative ideas, but you can tell that this is definitely trying way too hard to be raunchy, and I think maybe that's what people are turned off by, is the fact that they feel the need to go over raunchy with it. So maybe that's why people saw the movie and spread it that it's not good, and now people aren't going to see it. That kind of sucks. Moving on to number 9, we have Black Klansman, which made $4. 34.1 million, which adds to a domestic total of 38 million, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at 55 million, 40 million over its initial production budget, which is fantastic. So glad this film is still getting seen. And finally, closing out the video, number 10, Mile 22, which made 3.5 million, adding to a domestic total of 31, and on the worldwide chart, it is only at 38. Once again, this film is still flopping. It's 62 million away from doubling its $50 million budget, but it's definitely not going to get there at this point, especially since it's literally about to leave the top 10. Now, there's one film I haven't mentioned yet, which I predicted pretty high. I predicted it for number 2, but it actually opened up at number 12, which is Kin. I thought this movie would do a little bit better since it looks like a family film with some neat sci-fi elements, but I guess no one really wanted to see it. It only made 3.02 million this weekend, and that adds to a worldwide total of 4 million, which is not very good. I hear this film was trying to set up a new franchise, but with this kind of opening, I don't think anyone's going to be interested to see more of this. And the budget is right now undisclosed, but I feel like it was pretty high considering it is a sci-fi movie. But now it's time for the fun part, the predictions for next week's top 5. Number 1, I think it's going to be obvious, The Nun. And then number 2 after that, Peppermint. Number 3, Crazy Rich Asians. Number 4, The Meg. And then number 5, Mission Impossible Fallout. But what are your predictions for next week's top 5? Leave it in the comments below. And if you got your predictions right for this week, you're going to get a shout out right now. Unless you didn't get it right, then I'm sorry. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.